What's up, vape fam? Sorteal here. Welcome to the live build stream. It's going to be kind of laid back tonight. It's just a couple of RDAs, so I figure we kind of build one up, vape on it, just shoot the shit, then eventually move on to the other one. What we're going to take a look at today is a new RDA. It comes from Alter Ego Creations. You may know them from the Scarlet RDA, which before the Ripsaw came out was really easily the best top airflow RDA out there. They've also done several mechanical mods, yet I say that and they did this one right here. This is the U7 and it is the biggest piece of shit I've ever bought in my life. It's basically a bomb waiting to go off. I can't use it at all. The button sticks on it. The switch housing gets red hot as soon as you try and use it. And that's just from taking a couple of pulls off of it. All of a sudden, the entire switch, including the button, is red hot. So I don't know what's up with that. I've talked to a lot of other owners, and it seems like more people that own the brass version of this don't have any issues. But if you own the stainless steel version, he did something wrong with it. And there's just a ton of people out there that have that exact same issue. So I didn't do a review on the U7, but if you're thinking about getting one, I would say don't, because there are some people with the brass version that it's the same deal. It's basically a bomb waiting to go off. See what's going on in chat. Sam, what's up, brother? Glad you could be here. Sorry if I freaked you out earlier by dropping the mullenberry flavor bomb on you. Notice Wayne, I don't think he knew anything about it. He did a live stream the other day and I mentioned them and he was like, wait, mullenberry has new fucking flavors? What? But I think they've actually had the new tobaccos and the new soft strawberry candy for a little bit. But then here recently they dropped all the rest. So I don't know if there's more to come, just kind of the way they've been rolling them out. But it's pretty interesting. I'm definitely anxious to try their cranberry out. Hopefully all those flavors should be here, I think tomorrow or the next day. Connor, what's going on, brother? Good to see Daniel's in here. I know YouTube's acting a little weird. Keeps telling me I have an excellent connection, but then I keep dropping frames. I've noticed. Hopefully it clears itself up. You know, if it's too wonky, we may have to kill a stream and then we'll just come back. But hopefully it clears up. Still vaping on the U7 mechanical, or not mechanical, the U7, not U7. What am I talking about? The TMF RDA V2 from Dani Vape and the Mind Flayer. Got it on top of the Defiant Designs TS. Still got those El Quattros in here. If you saw the review for this, you know I absolutely love this thing. Daniel, you're somebody that really loves, you know, squonking, it sounds like. And this RDA is just tailor-made for squonking. And the flavor off of it, like I said, this is up there for RDA of the year, right along with an RDA for Vaping V2 and the Dani V2. No lags now, going strong, good deal. What's going on, Swaggy? Glad you could show up. Apathy, what's going on, brother? As always, I hope everything is going great with you guys. But yeah, I was shocked by this TMF RDA V2 because it kind of came out of nowhere. They didn't really tease it very much. There was a little bit of teasing that went on Instagram, but it was pretty much a day or two before it was like, bam, it's on their site. And I still haven't found anything else out about the V1, so I have no fucking idea what's going on there. Looks like I'm still dropping frames here and there. Where did I source what? The RDA? I sourced the RDA direct from Dani V2, if that's what you're asking, Daniel. All right, so let's take a look at what we're going to do, kind of give Alter Ego Creations a second chance. Now, like I said, they've had RDAs and mechanical mods in the past that were just fine, but that U7, I mean, it is a $200 dumpster fire of a mechanical mod. I would definitely recommend don't waste your fucking time on it. But let's take a look at the Cleo. This is a package that it comes in, pretty much the same package that all Alter Ego Creations mech mods or RDAs come in. It's it doesn't really have anything YouTube can get upset about with me. I don't know why it has these 3 cutouts, because the RDA was in here, both drip tips were in there, and nothing was in here. So don't know where they're sourcing their packaging from, but a lot of times it makes no sense. All right, so I went ahead and got the transparent version because the black version looks a little weird with the Cleo being very, very prominent. Stainless steel version of this looks a lot better, but once I saw that they had an actual transparent version, figured I would just go with this one. Going on, getting a lot of lag. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Looks like it's somewhat cleared up on my end. YouTube hasn't screamed at me anymore. So hopefully it'll just keep kind of getting better as we go along. Like I said, if it's too bad eventually and I just get too many warnings, we'll drop the stream and then come back up. All right. So we'll take this off. Here's the deck. This is very, very reminiscent of the Dani V2. I'm kind of curious if the gentleman from Silvercraft Creations has seen this and is like, damn, man, it's basically the exact same deck, just smaller. And Silvercraft Creations is about to release a Dani 25mm, so it's gonna look even more like a copy at that point. But I do like some of the stuff that they've done here. Now with Alter Ego Creations, at least their RDAs, their machining is just excellent. It's just a mirror polish to everything. All the threading is just buttery smooth. I really wish I didn't have to go through a kind of channel there to get to the grub screws, but in this case, it's really not that big of a hassle. All right. Top cap. You get 2 different drip tips, but this is the only one that actually looks decent in my opinion. The other one is almost like a 510 style. I mean, it's an 810 connection, but it thins out so much it's very reminiscent of a 510. Looking good now, no lag, good deal. And pop that off. There's your airflow. It is just one giant slit, so of course more than likely it's going to whistle at full open, but Hopefully it's one of those you can just kind of cut it down a little bit and that goes away. Pretty simple overall in its design. But given that it is a very similar deck to the Dani V2, except in the style of the airflow, I'm actually thinking the coils are going to have to be relatively high. So thinking about cutting them to like a 6.5. I'll probably cut them to a 6.5 and then go from there. How's the Asgard 30 hold up on its little brother? It doesn't. Basically, it's probably my favorite as far as a larger atomizer, anything like 30 millimeters or above. Asgard is, I would say, not easily my favorite, but I would say it's definitely my favorite. But the Asgard Mini, I just don't know of any dual coil RDA that can really compete with it for flavor. Now that TMF V2 and the RDA for Vaping V2 come pretty close, but I still think that the Asgard Mini is king. This uses flathead screws, and we'll get to the Asgard after this, because I definitely want to build it up since I have not done the orange version of it yet live, and you all know me, I'm just a freak for orange. I don't know what that is, but always been that way. Back these out some. Yeah, the threading on this is just ridiculously smooth. Kind of one of those that you can barely even tell the screw is kind of coming out. That one right there, I couldn't tell. I didn't even think I had it caught. Same with this one. I can't tell I got it caught. There was no crunchiness to it. It didn't stick at all. Just backs out like there's nothing there. All right. I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use these with Tofo coils again. These are the 0.22 aliens. They should come out to about 0.11. Sometimes they come out to 0.1. But given where this airflow is, yeah, I think I'm going to have to cut it pretty tall. I'll do it at a 6.5 starting out, see where we're at. And if it's too tall, I'll cut it down some. Better to be too much than not enough. This MOSFET mechanical mod, I wouldn't call MOSFET a mechanical mod. I don't really use them. I've never been very interested in them, if I'm honest. So my opinion would be wouldn't be very good in that case, because I have not used a whole lot of them. The ones I've used in the past didn't impress me, so I was kind of like, whatever. And then they didn't, end up releasing just an absolute ton of them, so I've kind of ignored them, honestly. All right. Let's see how these do that's at 6.5. I think that'll work pretty good right there. What do you guys think? There's no information on Alter Ego Creations does not have a website or anything like that. It's strictly a Facebook group. So if you're interested in learning more about upcoming releases or the Cleo or anything like that, definitely go check out their Facebook group. But there's no like recommendation on leg lead length or anything like that. But I think this 6.5 will actually work pretty nicely. You could probably do it slightly higher than that. I'd say you could do it at a 7 and get a little bit more undercoil airflow if that's kind of more your style. Seems to be in there good. Done bought all the Coilology Alien V2s from 3F. Yeah, don't blame you. They're getting hard to find now. I got kind of lucky. I already had just an absolute fuck ton of them, so I'm not in any danger of running out. But Coilology did recently post that, you know, they're not dead. They're not going anywhere. That everything going on in China is not the end of Coilology. So they'll be back. They're just kind of in a pause as they figure everything out, I believe. One thing I kind of like about going through this is it's a little easier to build this on camera because I don't have to line it up. It's pretty much holding my screwdriver there. I just got to get it in front of the grub screws and it pretty much does the rest. It's got that good. Yeah. Checking this out a little bit, see how well it looks as far as coil placement. That looks pretty damn good if you ask me. Steve-O, what's up, brother? Came out to 0.07, which is about right for this. Starting out at least. I think we're good as far as the coils go. Now we just have to wait a good 10 minutes for me to dial this thing down. All right. 50 will be all right as long as I pulse it okay. All right. I'm basically going to do this coil placement similar to how I do the Dani V2. So I'm basically going to kind of line it up with the edge of the block there. So the side of the coil, I'm kind of making flush with the edge of the whole block. Because this deck is just so similar to the Dani, just slightly different airflow. But I do like the look of this RDA, and the place where I got it, it actually had it for, I don't know, a month or maybe a month and a half. But being as it's a Filipino designed and made RDA, they're asking about $100 for it, I think is what it was. I think when they first got it, it was like 120. Then they dropped it down to right around 100. And then here recently, I saw it got dropped down to about 60. So I jumped all over that one because I did want to try it out. I did like the Scarlet RDA from them. So even though I was upset about their U7 mechanical mod, they've made good RDAs in the past. So yeah, I've about got it. I'd like for it to glow a little more evenly. There it goes. All right. Grab some wicking. Still going to use the Amosa cotton that I always use just because. Still really haven't found anything better than this. It's really weird that a $5 13-foot strip of cotton works better than a lot of other cottons that are on the market that are charging basically, you know, $10 for maybe a meter. $10 for 3 feet or $5 for 13 feet, and it works better is a no-brainer. Yeah, Steve-O, the Recurve V2, once you get it kind of up and running, which can be a pain in the ass, but once you do, it's a damn good RDA. It's got great flavor. I really like the airflow design of it as far as that little insert. I have not tried the Aura. It's the best 30mm RDA, if not the Asgard. Like I said, I think the Asgard's my favorite 30mm RDA. I will say that pandemic 30mm from Unicorn Vapes that just came out is damn good. And then the Valhalla Mini, that's another damn good 30mm RDA. All right, I don't think we're going to need much wicking at all with this. I'm almost wondering now. I think probably about like that. All I did was kind of put my scissors to the base of the deck and then come out maybe like half a millimeter, maybe a full millimeter at the very most. And I get the feeling this might be too much. Connor, it's really just because the coil's kind of wearing down, and a lot of that kind of color that comes off of it is just from the metal being heated up. But after so long of being continuously heated and cooled, heated and cooled, heated and cooled, it just ends up getting darker and darker. So it's just use and wear as far as why your coils kind of lose their shine after a while. Yeah, the 28mm Plague Edition is an amazing RDA. I love that thing. So that was why when I saw they were going to do a 30mm version of it, not usually big on large atomizers outside of, you know, series builds, but even for just the aspect of having it for series builds, I thought it was interesting. So I definitely wanted one. I think I'm going through, because I actually went through Chappie, and I think that what I hear from a few other people kind of around close to me, not real close, but somewhat close, I ended up getting mine about almost a week before they did. All right, let's see if this is going to be too much. No, I don't think so. So yeah, about the base of the deck and then a little out. I would say you could just cut it to the base of the deck and tuck them in here, and that would still be plenty of wicking. It's really simple to wick. this kind of mic vapes flip, or just kind of the swoop and tuck, or just the old school shove the shit down in there would probably work just fine with this. I always kind of just take one leg of the tweezer and kind of run it down, where I'm basically pushing it up against the juice well wall, kind of get any of that bunched up cotton, kind of straighten it out so it actually wicks better. If it's too bunched up, it's going to kind of just hold liquid. It's not actually going to go upwards towards the coil very well. All right, I think that looks pretty good. So liquid I'm going to use with this one is actually not a DIY liquid for once. Got the whole line of Bogan's brews. These right here. This is Rigididge. This is actually really good. It's an oatmeal cookie with a kind of lemon icing on top, and it comes across really well. I think this one in particular is delicious. He has a lot of other ones in the line that I'm just not a big fan of. I was pumped to get his Courant Cola because I kept hearing a lot of really good things about it. But if you've ever had the DIY recipe from Alfred Pudding, the 007 Cola, Courant Cola is going to be a huge letdown for you. All right. Yeah, Country Boy Chappie is a great guy. What leg length do you cut the coil legs on the Recurve V2? About 7.5 or 8 is what I normally do. Go ahead, juice this up. Now this is another of kind of the few commercial e-liquids that I still actually really like. Kind of hard once you do DIY for so long to go back and vape commercial e-liquids, because for one, the sweetener will kill you after a while. It's just, most commercial e-liquids are just far too sweet for me. Oh Lord. Apathy, you've been made a moderator. Can you ban them out of the channel? Odd I can't do it myself. All right, there we go. Yeah, I just went ahead and made you a moderator, Apathy. I think it's you, Dave Lloyd, Mowgli, and Addy Tooney are the moderators in the channel. Now these Wotofo coils actually come out a really nice shade of kind of blue and amber. And I'm not huge on a lot of their kind of pre-made, pre-wound coils, but these 0.22s I really like. And they've got some quad core fuse Claptons that are actually pretty damn good too. All right, stick this on there. Let's jump back up top. See how well this thing does. Oh yeah, chasing clouds, that's right, I made you one too. I thought about doing the whole Legion Vapes thing and just like, all right, if you're in here, you know, routinely, you're getting a wrench. All right, let's just try it full blown, see if it whistles. It probably will, but who knows? See what our resistance came out to. 0.1 right on the money, which is pretty much the usual. Crank this wattage up. Still have not done E-scribe to make this a little bit easier to pump the wattage up. Start out about 95 watts. Here we go. No whistle. So yeah, this is the first time I've built this at all. I actually just got it in today. Earlier today, I was kind of trying to decide, well, all right, what are we going to build on the live build stream? Hadn't had time with everybody sick to kind of really plan it out. But then this came in the mail and I was like, oh, okay, let's just go ahead and do this. Still have a full review video for it once I played around with it a little bit more. But I figure why not just do the initial build on the live stream and then kind of give you guys that are actually in chat, you know, my thoughts on it at least a little bit. But I will say take these with a grain of salt because I normally use a product for about a week or two before I really do a review on it. It's really airy. Like, I think you could lean those coils in almost directly up against that airflow and it might work a little bit better. But now I've got it cut down about 25%. See how that does. Not bad. It's just a little airy. Got over dripped a bit. Let me crank the wattage up and see if that makes a difference. Try 105 watts. That's actually really good. Cranking the wattage up more to, you know, kind of what it should be for a 0.1 or closer to what it should be for a 0.1 really changes this a lot as far as, you know, the heat takes up some room in there so it doesn't feel quite as airy. This is still with the airflow just cut down about 25%. All right, so let's see what's going on in chat. How long did it take to get from Damn Vape? Think like 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks tops. Sam, you always go for the really cheap mods. Now, regulated mods, I normally go for kind of cheaper mods, but ones that I also know, you know, have pretty good reviews as far as durability, because I do kind of knock them over, things like that. But other than in review settings like this, or maybe it's something where I don't trust the RDA very much, then I'll use it on a regulated device. But I would say 98% of what I vape is done on mechanical mods. This is actually pretty damn good, if I do say so myself. The flavor off of it is not like superb by any stretch, but it's not terrible. Actually, that right there was really good. I cut the airflow down about 50%, so now it's just kind of a oblong bored out hole. And the flavor really went up. Give you a 9.5 build on this one. Thank you very much, sir. But yeah, it's not bad. It's really not bad at all. I like that it's airy. I think this is kind of a 24, 25. I can't remember if it's 24 or 25. I think it's 24 millimeter. You could probably stick some decent series coils in this and it would be really good. You could open the airflow up a little bit more. If you've got 3mm ID coils, you definitely have to cut that airflow down. Otherwise, it's just too airy. Flavor takes too big a hit. But now that I've got it cut down about 50%, flavor's really gone up and the pull off of it's better. It's a little more kind of restrictive, but not overly restrictive. And the airiness to it just went away. The Drag 4s have a C-frame battery door to them now. Hell yeah. I have not seen those. Like, I've seen them out there, but I haven't really looked into them because I've just not been a big fan of previous. But that's kind of interesting that now they went with a C-frame door. Or get better hands. Yeah, so I'm not super impressed with this one, but I'm not like ridiculously let down. I like the look of it. And once you cut that airflow down, it actually vapes pretty well. But it's nothing to write home about, and it doesn't come anywhere close to like the TMF RDA V2 or the RDA for Vaping V2. But I guarantee this thing could chuck some clouds. You stuck this on like a parallel and stuck some like 0.07s in there, you could get some nice clouds out of this thing, and with this transparent top, it shouldn't get ridiculously hot on you. But yeah, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. But I will definitely play around with it a little bit more. I'll probably try some 2.5mm ID coils with it, see how those do. I might even throw some series coils in it and see how it does with those. Being that it is from the Philippines, a lot of Filipino designed RDAs and things like that are designed with series in mind, because that is just a very popular way to vape over there. All right. Set some of this shit off to the side. Like I said, I've been vaping on this TMF RDA V2 on the Defiant Designs TS because I really wanted to try it out as a squonker again, because the first time that I did, just through testing, I was really impressed with it when it was on the Pulse V2, so I wanted to try it on a mechanical mod. Given the fact I stuck those El Cuatros, they're quad core aliens from Coil Clout in here, and it came out to 0.08. I was a little like, probably be fine in a single battery mechanical mod if I use some Molicel P42As, but let's just be on the safe side and stick it on a triple parallel. Pile Chucker, what's up? Thank you very much. Glad you're digging the channel. I don't even know what my style is, to be perfectly honest. I try just to be me and be laid back and tell you guys what I actually think. That was like when, because there's only a few companies that actually send me products right now, and when DotMod said, hey, you want to check out our new product, I figured it was going to be a pod system of some type, and I agreed to it, but it actually turned out to be all right, because if it hadn't been, then I definitely would have trashed that thing, because I don't know. I'm not going to not tell you guys what I think, regardless of who the fuck sent it to me. What gives better flavors, side airflow or honeycomb? What do you mean? Like side airflow? Yeah, I sort of agree with you too there. What gives better flavor, side airflow or honeycomb? Well, I mean, you could have side airflow that is honeycomb. Thank you very much, Chasing Clouds. Anybody that's willing to send me anything, I mean, I'll review it. I don't care as long as they know. Because I've heard stories from other reviewers where they were like, yeah, sure. And then they sent them stuff and then they trashed it. And then the company never talked to them again. And so I'm absolutely 100% positive I'm going to have some of those throughout the channel's life. But yeah, I really dig this TM. I'm really blown away by this TMF RDA V2 from Dani Vape. Daniel sucks. What? All right. You can go ahead and take a look at the orange monster. This is the Asgard 30, or just the full-blown Asgard. Finally, there for a while, Vapor's Cloud was out of stock of the satin orange for it seemed like forever and nobody else had it. Finally found a place that had it and ordered it up, and sure enough, right after that, Vapor's Cloud ended up getting a whole bunch of them in stock. Then other places, Vaping Delights, places like that, they ended up getting them all back in stock. So always how it goes. Deck on this is identical really to the Asgard Mini, just blown up. Samsung 30T or Molicel P42A for tube mix. The P42A, if you're building really low, like if you're going to build at 0.1, 0.09, 0.08, definitely the Molicel P42A, just because it has a higher amp limit. Samsung 30Ts hit harder initially, but they get to that big voltage drop quicker than the Molicels do. So it's kind of, I don't know. Samsungs tend to last a little bit longer as far as the full milliamp hours of the battery. That will kind of cut down after about a year. Although I've got some that are like 3 years old and they're still kicking just fine. But a lot of them, after about a year, you'll lose maybe 30% of its capacity, but you don't lose any of its kick really. So, and if you're vaping on a mechanical mod, especially if you're like me, where once you hit that big initial voltage drop, it's time to change batteries. But I will say I have some P45Bs that are on the way. I think they're supposed to be here tomorrow. So I think those, from everything that I've been reading from Mooch's reviews to some other people out there talking about them, I think the Molicel P45Bs will be easily the best 21700 lithium ion battery out there. They basically have that hard hitting aspect to them that the 30Ts have, but then they've got higher capacity and they're 45 amp batteries. And it seems like from Mooch's test, he thought that, no way, where did you find them? They are actually Epoch batteries. They're on 18650 battery store there, Stevo. They've been up for a little bit, and they basically say 21700 45 amp, and then in parentheses it says P45B. Now, at first when they came out, I was like, I'm not trusting that at all. But then on Mooch's Patreon, he got some in and opened them up, took the wraps off of them, and he said that he was 100% sure they are actual Mollicell P45Bs. They're even laser etched the way that the Mollicell P45Bs are supposed to be. And he said, as far as he knew, no kind of cloners out there for cells were actually doing any type of laser etching. And he had comparison shots of kind of the stripped open Epoch and the actual stripped open Mollicell P45B, and they were identical, and they tested identical. So pretty sure Epoch has actually gotten a hold of a lot of Mollicell P45Bs. So if you go and you look up Epoch 45 amp, 4500 milliamp hour, that's the same thing, and it will have that parentheses where it says P45B. All right, let me find screwdriver I need. Back some of these out. Sam is the equivalent of somebody that drives slow in the left lane. Damn. Y'all are so mean to each other. Alright, so for this one, I use the Coilology Alien V2s. Actually, not these. Those are the 2.5 millimeter. These right here. 3 millimeter ID, 0.21. They normally come out to about 0.09, sometimes 0.1. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of became a Mollicell follower once Mollicell actually kind of came out in favor of like the vape community. Got 6 P26As. I've got, I think, like 4 of those laying around, but I like the P28As a little bit better. All right, I can't even remember what I normally think. I do these at like a 5. But yeah, Mollicell being kind of pro vape made me want to check their stuff out a little bit more. And then also the P42As being, you know, 45 amp as far as Mollicell was concerned, but still a 40 amp battery according to Mooch's testing. Now the P45B, according to Mooch's testing, was a lot closer to actual 45 amps. I think his, want to say his rating was about 42 amps, but don't quote me on that. It's been a minute since I read his initial review or his initial test results. Dead Rabbit V3 or Recurve? I got to go with the Dead Rabbit V3 over the Recurve V2. I don't really know why. I could not explain to you why I like Dead Rabbit 3 so much, but I do. I just keep going back to it. Oh yeah, that'll work. But yeah, because my initial impression of the Dead Rabbit 3 was kind of meh. Like, it was good and it had good flavor. I liked it better than any of the other Dead Rabbits by far, but you know, it wasn't blowing me out of the water. But now it's a daily banger for me. I use that thing constantly and I get killer flavor off of it. Especially like my favorite e-liquid to vape on is my vanilla overdose custard by far. And that's what I vape that liquid on a daily basis through, is a Dead Rabbit 3. All right. See if I can pick this one up a little bit more. It looks good. Let me try and pop this insert out. So with this, a lot of people want to either pull the coils way too close to the center or push them way too far back, like they're trying to slam them up against the airflow. But because of this insert, you can get too close to it. It is Ultim, so you know it's not necessarily going to melt right away, but it does have its limits and it will eventually start to melt. So I always kind of pop it out and then I'll set it down in there. Make sure I'm getting as close as I can to the airflow without actually touching it. Think I'm touching it at all? No. And honestly, I couldn't have brought those up much higher than what I've got, cutting them to a 5, because I would have hit the top of this airflow insert. And 5's what I normally cut them to, and I'll kind of drop them down in there, pick them up just a hair, and then pull them up a little bit more once they've been clamped down. So I think this should work pretty good. Put my insert back in there. See if they came out to like 0.072. Yep, it's pretty normal. Sometimes it'll actually come out to like 0.05. And this one looks like it dropped again. All right. Bring my wattage back down. Bought all the from 3F Vape. No, I did not buy all those Coilology Alien V2s from 3F Vape. Most of those actually came from either Fast Tech or direct from Coilology. All right, go ahead, pulse and pinch. Wait a second. I think that's good. Now it's changing resistance on me. Uh-oh. There we go. You always have your coils touching in the middle for a deck like this? Never. I never have that. The flavor goes to shit. At least for me. A little bit of inside hot spot there. All right. I think that's good. Did I see another one? All right. Go ahead and get my wicks done up. I could see almost the dripping right on the coils and the heat there, Steve-O, but I don't know. It doesn't make the RDA worth it to me to put them right there in the center. If I slam them right up against the airflow there without touching any of that Ultim insert, the flavor is just spectacular. And I think that's why, for me, this has kind of remained the king of dual coil RDAs, be it either in large atomizers like the 30 or definitely with the mini. But also, like Apathy said, it's just everybody likes what they like. Everybody likes things different. And I'm all about you do you, for sure. Are Watofos pre-wraps just as good as Coilology? I don't think so, but I do like the 0.22 aliens that they have and the quad core fuse Claptons that Watofo has. Those are actually pretty good coils. But as far as good as the Coilology coils, no, but that's just me. And definitely not as good as a lot of their premium line. Find what I did with my angled tweezers. Drop Dead was a damn good RDA for sure. I think Hell Vape gets a lot of shit and for good reason, but they actually make some damn good rebuildables. So that shit away. Like I said, sometimes I can be finicky with my wicks. I'll sit here and fuck around with them forever until I get them just right. But in this case, I'm going to try not to do that too bad. All right. I think that'll be good. All right, for this one, I actually want to use my Twisted Tart slushie recipe. I love this thing. I actually used it on the nitrous ghost cap, or the nitrous with the ghost cap, and it took me forever to get the kind of tart, blueberry, cherry, slushy kind of taste out of that top cap. Anything else I put in it, I would vape, and it would have just that tinge of this Twisted Tart slushy. And it was all like it was stuck to the top cap. So I ended up having to soak it. And it finally came out of there, but it took a while. Let's see what our coils came out to. 0.1 on the money. Make it wattage up a little bit. That ought to do it. This is great. If you do my wick style on your mesh, you'll probably be like, what the fuck? As far as the amount of mesh or the amount of wick you got to use. But yeah, I think in the end, you'll probably be a lot happier with mesh overall. Now, some people just don't like the idea of using that much cotton or that much liquid, but I do gotta say, like I've said before, you really don't use that much more liquid than you would, say, a dual coil RDA, except for kind of the initial juicing it up. After that, you're going to use about the same amount of liquid. All right, I think that's good. That on there good. All right, let's jump back up top. Actually, I want to switch the mod that I'm using for this. I'm going to put it on this Watofo Mdura. Not that I hate the Hadron Plus, I definitely don't, but I think it'll look better on this one. And possibly vape a little bit better. Turn this wattage down just a little bit. Started out at about 70 watts. Here we go. Pretty good, but too airy. That's really good right there. Yeah, as far as larger atomizers go, the Asgard 30mm is probably my favorite. I think it has the best flavor. Although, like I said, that Pandemic 30 comes pretty close. And I don't really count like the Dani V2 or the Dead Rabbit Max in larger atomizers. They're kind of 28's kind of the cutoff for what I think of as traditional sized atomizers. Once you get it started, I found I actually squonk through less liquid Sorteal's way. As far as mesh goes, you'll definitely squonk through less liquid because the liquid's kind of coming up directly underneath that mesh. You don't really have to worry about the wicks that are actually in the wick wells because you get the center of that cotton saturated, and that's really all you need. Chasing clouds, brother. Take it easy. Thanks for coming out, hanging out with us. See you tomorrow at the live mixing. All right. Kevin, what's going on? I think mesh in a rebuildable sense is dying off. I don't know. The Profile X just came out. As far as I know, even though Joel didn't have anything to do with the Profile X, from what I know, he's got other ideas. What else? The Ponte was mesh. Will P45B be good in my Kennedy Cloud Chucker? Hell yeah, it will. Because it's a 45 amp battery. It's got 4,500 milliamp hours. So yeah, it'd probably be the best battery you could stick in a Kennedy 21. Yeah, the wire optim mesh strips are extremely good. I was using these stainless steel ones here. I don't think I can get in trouble for that. But I was using the stainless steel mesh strips in the Ponte, and I've still got it in there. And they work just amazing. I do like Watofo's, because Wire Optim has a version of all of Watofo's stuff, right? But Wire Optim's version of Watofo's Extreme Mesh is not quite as good as the actual stuff from Watofo. What's y'all's favorite place to buy like handmade coils? So like Coil Clout? Mine is Twisted Timmy's. I think Timmy is the best coil maker I've ever come across. Especially like his Fralians are really good. His Lucky 7s, if you like 2.5 millimeter ID coils, are hands down the best, low ohm 2.5 millimeter coils I've ever come across. Cloud Chucker, yeah, from Mooch's test, it seems like, 30Ts were always the battery everyone went to in mechs because it hit the hardest. While the P45Bs supposedly have that same kind of hard hitting aspect to them that the 30Ts have, but they're higher amp output and more milliamp hours. Although I don't really look at milliamp hours too much when it comes to mechanical mods, because once that voltage drop hits, I'm gonna change batteries anyway. And by that point, I've really probably only gone through maybe 25-30% of the actual capacity of the battery. Cloud Cart, you're not the only one that's told me about those Cloud Cartel coils. I want to say it was Birdman that mentioned them as well. So yeah, I definitely need to get my hands on. I need to get my hands on a lot more. Someone else was kind of pointing out a guy, I think he's in Hungary, that is a coil maker that apparently has ridiculously cheap coils that he's selling, but are really, really high quality. But as far as the ones that I've tried, which would include, breeze tones, I have tried some ohms coils that somebody sent me from the UK. Coil Clout, Timmy's, been a bunch of other ones out there I can't even think of right off the top of my head. I got a whole mess of coils that were handmade coils from Australia and New Zealand. But out of all those, Timmy's coils, especially his Fralians, have been the best that I've ever tried. Yeah, shipping from Coil Cloud is super fast. And I got these in. These are the 2.5 millimeter ID mech alien coils. I think they come out to like 0.09, 0.1. I think it's 0.09. I haven't tried those yet, and I've never actually tested those out. but I've been wanting to build on the nitrous, but lower. And for the longest time, I've been building at 0.15 for the nitrous for the most part. But I ended up installing some of those Lucky 7s from Timmy's, and it was amazing. So now I'm kind of like, let me see what other low resistance 2.5mm coils I can find out there and give them a go. Coil Turret is also some really good coils. Coil Turret's coils are ridiculously long lasting. The first RDA for vaping that I ever got, I got the loaded version. And so when it came in, ended up juicing it up, all that good stuff. And it was probably 8-9 months before I changed those coils. I just didn't really think about it. Flavor was still great off of them. They were cleaning up really, really good. So I wasn't even thinking how long it had been. And then after about the 8-9 month mark, I was like, wait a second, how fucking long have I had these? So to go back and look at my order, and I was like, holy shit. It's been like 3/4 of a year that I've had these coils in here, and they were still working just fine. They didn't look, super beat up or anything like that. I did go ahead and change them because that was just a little bit too long for my liking. But yeah, Feature makes some amazingly resistant to kind of wear and tear coils that are out there, and the flavor off of them is damn good. Same thing with Freelance. Nice. Stay stocked up as I can on Twisted Timmy's Freyland V2s and Lucky 7s. Yeah, same here. I actually need to order more of the Lucky 7s. I think I have one more set lying around here somewhere. Notice no matter what I do, I tend to get around 1 to 2 weeks from both China mass-produced coils and handmade coils. Rag them around and pulse them quickly with dry burn. I mean, still, even if you're kind of pulsing them quick on dry burns, I mean, some people just find that they like to replace their coils a lot more frequently. They're a little bit, it's kind of like taste. You might just be a little bit more sensitive to kind of that degradation in flavor from coils as they wear and tear. And in that case, there might not be anything you can do about it. That might just be an aspect of your taste when it comes to vaping. Birdman, I'm pretty sure, changes his coils like once a week, once every 2 weeks, something along those lines. Maybe once a month. I can't remember. But he mentioned something when I did a video going over kind of coil life and how often you should be changing your coils when you use them with mechanical mods. And I think he said either every month or every couple of weeks. Apathy. I mean, I agree. 2 weeks is pretty short, but that's the only thing I can think of. But then again, I'm not there to see exactly what you're doing and what liquid you're using, how often you're vaping, what wattage you're vaping, and which coils you're using. I can almost see that for like Chinese pre-manufactured coils, but not like Coilology. Not like Coilology coils, because I've had some of those last just an insanely long amount of time as well. Yeah, I really dig this Twisted Tart slushie. It kind of made me fall in love with Loran's tart and sour flavoring all over again. I rock them till they stop. It might be dangerous on the mech right there. Yeah, I want to say that Timmy uses wire optim as well, because I have seen like Country Boy saying some of those videos that he's done where he's got spools of him hanging in the back. I don't know if he is like strictly a wire optim person, but I think that's mainly what he uses. I finally tried those Chappie coils that he sent along with the Pandemic 30. They were actually pretty damn good. I was shocked. Well, I wasn't shocked. I was just impressed. They were actually really good coils. Kyle Checker, what's my favorite mechanical mod? The Ruby 21 from Kennedy. That has to be my favorite mechanical mod. As far as a single battery like mech mod, would have to be this. And overall, I mean, it probably is just my favorite overall. I don't really use like dual battery series a whole lot. If I'm going to do series, you know, I normally go with a stack, and in that case I'm using that also as a single battery mech. But I really like the Dreamer too. I don't know, it's kind of like the Dead Rabbit 3. I can't really tell you why I like the Dreamer so much. There's harder hitting mechanical mods out there. There's, you know, better designed, better looking mechanical mods out there than the Dreamer. But one thing I'll say, the Dreamer will take a licking and just fucking keep on ticking. I've had a bunch of other mechanical mods that were way higher end, cost way more money, and, you know, kind of have something go wrong with them a lot more often than I've ever had. The only Dreamer I've ever had have some kind of issue. I dropped it off of an elevated walkway, so it fell probably 20-25 feet and dented. Anarchist and Twisted Messes wire for Beecher. Nice. So yeah, probably the Kennedy Ruby is my favorite mechanical mod overall, but I use the Dreamer more than any other mechanical mod. I would say hands down. It's my daily banger. It's my workhorse mech. I like the Keen too a lot. I like the Vert 2. I've got an Atlas. I really like the Atlas as well. Got a couple of Purge mods, but I don't know. I never really got into Purge. There's something about them that I'd like. I love every Purge mech that I have, but there's something about them that stops me from like really falling in love with them, and I'm not sure what that is. I think a lot of it is just like the overall feel of a lot of them are not really what I'm looking for. I think that's kind of why I like the Dreamer so much. It just feels comfortable as fuck in my hand, and it just feels like it's supposed to be there. The switch always works. It's always buttery smooth. Yeah, the Snowcap Mods Avalanche V2 is an amazing mech squonker for sure. If I had to pick my favorite mechanical mod squonker, it would either be that Avalanche V2, the topside SQ, or I really like this Defiant Designs TS. Being a triple parallel, I love the way it feels in my hand. As long as you've got a silicone bottle, it squonks just absolutely phenomenally. It's extremely hard. And then there's other ones that are out there that I really like. There was a few from Armageddon or Immortal mods that I liked. There was a few from Comp Life and Avid Life that I liked, but overall, the Dreamer and the Kennedy Ruby are my favorites. I mean, the Vindicator by itself with whatever atomizer you want to use is an amazing mech. All right, Apathy, we got to talk. All right, you have the Skeleton King from Marvick, and that's like one of your favorites, right? So like, give me the lowdown on it, because I passed it up a lot, and there were other people that that have said they really like that mechanical mod. And I guess I was a little leery on it just because it's so kind of, the price of it was so low that it made me a little leery. So yeah, if you're the first person I've seen that's like, yeah, I really like this, like as far as to say something about it without me asking, I guess. Favorite tube is the Scoundrel. The Suicide does hit really good. I don't own one of those. My buddy of mine has the Panda version of it, and it hits real nice. I like that mech mod. Too nappish. Heck yeah. Be very happy with those batteries, I think. Especially now that I found out that Mooch is like, okay, the Epoch are definitely the P45Bs. I ordered a ton of, I think I ordered like 8 of them as soon as I read that Patreon post. Bow Trucker, the heavy hitter is not bad, but I cannot stand that fucking switch on it. Like if it didn't have that lock mechanism, it would be one of my favorite mechanical mods, I guarantee it. But that locking mechanism, especially because I'm somebody that I like firing a mechanical mod with my left hand for some reason. It's just how I do it. And eventually with the damn heavy hitter, the switch will turn just a little bit and then it'll eventually catch, and then I got to turn it all the way back, or I have to completely readjust my hand and fire it with my middle finger if I'm using my left hand. And it's just a lot of extra hassle that makes it not feel as comfortable. Yeah, I saw like all the solid silver ones of the Skeleton King or the Marvick mechanical mods. They were pretty high priced. And those were kind of the ones I was like, well, that has to be pretty damn good voltage transfer if it's actually solid silver. I guess I just never heard a lot about them, so it made me a little bit leery. Favorite twos are probably the OG Vert and Countdown. Just love the switch with the clutch system. I've got the OG Vert and the Vert 2. Don't have the Countdown. I missed out on it, unfortunately. But I've never really tried to go find it secondhand. Tofu pulled the Endura pretty quickly, but not sure why, especially the Endura Pro. I have no idea. This one has been nothing but a champ. And then in my bedroom, I've got the Nitrous sitting on top of just the straight Endura. And I've had them for a while, and they're just tanks. Currently vaping a Pony on Acid clone, and all I can taste is freaking strawberries. Heard a lot of people have trouble cloning that one in particular. I've never been extremely good at cloning. I did kind of clone the Candy King's Lemon Drops almost on accident, just trying to do my own kind of lemon heads type of recipe, and it turned out when I simplified that recipe a little bit, it tasted a lot like Candy King's Lemon Drops. But as far as somebody, because actually a lot of people recently have been asking me to clone certain e-liquids. Somebody was pretty adamant about wanting me to try to clone Vapetasia's Killer Custard and I think the vanilla version. And I was pretty much like, you know, go try any other custard recipe that has like 5-star rating over on all the flavors, and it's going to be better than Vapetasia's Vanilla Killer Custard. But I'm not good at cloning, so I told him he needed to go look somewhere else. But I'm pretty sure on ELR there's plenty of Killer Custard clone recipes. Apathy, is that what it is? I didn't like Pony on Acid. Like when I tried it, it wasn't horrible by any stretch or anything like that, but just wasn't for me. Just ordered the Ripsaw. Cannot wait to try it. The flavor is supposed to be banging. Flavor off the Ripsaw is really good. It's definitely the best flavor off of a top airflow RDA I've ever come across. Like I said, the one before that, that was the king, was the Alter Ego Creation Scarlet RDA. That's a really good RDA as well. But yeah, I think you'll really like the Ripsaw. It's kind of a tank of an RDA, so I like that about it. Only issue I have with it is not every 810 drip tip will fit with it and be able to turn the airflow. So you're kind of going to be limited to what 810 drip tips you can put on this. And then there's some that will kind of ride up. You'll set them down in there and then they'll pop up just a little bit. Plus they won't turn that airflow down. But the one that comes with it obviously works extremely well. And then you'll find there's going to be some 810 drip tips that you have that will fit it just fine. You're going to want one that's a little bit tighter in there. Scored your countdown on sale for 55 bucks. 2 days later, Bogan did his review and they sold out. Yeah, that tends to happen, I would say. Every like commercial e-liquid throughout kind of the old days, I guess, before I was really doing DIY heavily, they went out of business. There was one company that was called GQ. They had what was it called? They had a liquid called Eclipse that was really good. And then there was another company called Drip This that they did a whole sour line. It was like sour strawberry, sour watermelon, sour mango. All of those were extremely good e-liquids, but all of them went out of business. And like most of them anywhere, long before the whole PMTA and all that came about. I never understood everyone's like with what was that company, Bomb Sauce. I worked at the vape shop. Just that was all anybody ever wanted there for a long time between like 2014 2015. Everyone wanted Bomb Sauce or Cutwood, and I didn't like, well, I won't say I didn't like any. The Bomb Sauce had the Alien Piss, which is an awful name for an e-liquid, but it was actually pretty delicious. What coils do I recommend to put in the Ripsaw? I don't know. I mean, aliens work great in it. Aliens work great in it. If it's like a 4-wrap coil, you're going to end up having to kind of spread your legs out a little bit, and it may kind of jank up the kind of close contact of the coil itself. But I've never really had any problems out of that. So if you've got maybe some aliens or fralians that are like 5-wrap or more that you really like, they'll work great in the Ripsaw. Apathy, brother, get some sleep. Appreciate you coming out. Charlie Noble Custard got me off the coffin nails. I've heard a lot of people liked that Charlie Noble. What finally got me off because I mean, I started vaping way back. Yeah, the Ripsaw doesn't leak for nothing. You could set it on its side and it's not going to leak. And I think that's another company that kind of went under. It was called Pops, and they had a blueberry lemonade that I loved, even though it didn't really taste like blueberry lemonade at all. It was kind of like a bluish lemon candy type of vape, but it was really good. And then I found Candy King's lemon drops because I kept searching. I wanted a lemon vape that was, you know, somewhat tart or sour, but also with a candy edge to it. Every single one I tried was terrible at that time, except for this and Bad Drips. Was it Dead Lemon? Those two I really liked. But that Pop Blueberry Lemonade, that was the liquid that actually finally got me to put cigarettes down. Yeah, the Epoch P45B is better than the Molicel P42A. It's got a higher amp output. There's so many like commercial e-liquids that I never even tried. Well, I'm trying to think what was, oh, the other somewhat commercial e-liquid. See, I don't really consider like Homeboys or Turks, their stuff. I don't really fully consider their liquids commercial because they're not as sweet as most commercial e-liquids are, and they just taste like they've got a bit more of that kind of DIYers edge to them, where they really let the flavorings kind of do the talking as opposed to the sweetener, and they don't just, you know, overkill any type of flavoring, so you're not just assaulted with off notes because they're using, you know, 10% of strawberry ripe. But somebody wanted me to clone Turks. Was it Pumpkin AF? Pumpkin as fuck. Never had that liquid, so I'd have to order it, and it's like $60 a bottle. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull that one off, but I would like to try it because a lot of people have said really good things about that one. Yeah, Breestone's coils are extremely good. One thing I'll say about like coils though is you might think you like a coil more than you actually do, because my buddy Terry loves Breestone's coils. I've told this story before, but he absolutely loves them. And then the place he was getting them from shut down. Couldn't find any place else to get Breestone's coils. He couldn't order them direct from Australia and have them shipped over because at that time he wasn't doing anything like that. So he's kind of just out of them. And at one point I had an RDA built up and they had the Coilology Alien V2s in there. And I told him it was Breestone's coils. I was like, hey, I found some Breestone's coils, ordered them up. That's what I got in here right now. And he wanted to take a hit off of it. So cleaned off drip tip, handed it to him, was like, there you go. He took a big rip off of it. And you'd have thought he was having an orgasm because he just went on this huge tangent about how good it was to vape Breestones again, how great everything was, blah, 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 blah. And I turned around and almost felt bad to tell him, like, hey, those are Coilology Alien V2s. And then I think he wanted to punch me. Josh's pumpkin roll is one of the best pumpkin vapes I've had. You talking about Jason Cloud's flavor reviews pumpkin roll? The New Hampshire pumpkin roll, that is a really good recipe, if that's the one you're talking about. Honestly, I thought you'd only use handmade coil Sorteal. No. I like the Coilology stuff. I don't mind. Like I said, there's a few Watofo ones that I actually like. Those .22 aliens and their quad core fuse Claptons I think are really good. Like when I got into making coils, see, I was somebody, I was born left-handed, and then they kind of like, I went to Catholic school and they broke that in me early on. They're like, no, it's a right-handed world. You're going to have to learn to do everything right-handed. So now I have this weird ambidextrous nature. So like when I first started building coils, I started wrapping everything anti-clockwise, right? And it seemed like people thought they were Chinese-made coils if they were anti-clockwise and they were handmade. if they were, or they were clockwise wrap coils if they were handmade. So anytime I made them, I always wrapped them. Still to this day, if I make my own coils, they get wrapped counterclockwise. Just because it's easier, I can make a tighter wrap if I do it that way. But I don't know. And there's not very many kind of pre-made, pre-wound or factory wound coils that I like. But the Coilology and the Wotofo ones that I mentioned are definitely those. But for the most part, it's Twisted Timmy's Coil Clout. I wouldn't mind getting some more Chappie's coils. Those are actually really good. And then now that I know where I can get Breezetone's coils, I've been ordering more of those. So, but I probably vape more on Timmy's coils than anything. If I do like live builds and things like that, I use the Coilology Alien V2s because a little bit cheaper. The Timmy's are, unless it's something I'm going to build up that I know, like, okay, I'm going to vape this for the next, 3 or 4 months solid. I might throw some Twisted Timmy's in there, but it's something I'm probably gonna, kind of take apart, dry fire the coils, and then set it over on the stand for a while. I'm just gonna go ahead and put some Coilology Alien V2s in there because I know they'll be really good flavor. I really like them, but I won't feel like I'm wasting money if I just kind of set them off to the side for a while. Connor, see, I get that with Coil Clout coils. It takes a while for that metallic taste to come out of them. The El Quattros from Coil Clout don't do that. And the, what are they, the Suka ones? They don't do that either. But his standard Aliens and Fralians, they all taste like they have a metallic taste to them. I don't get that from the Wotofo ones, except for like the 0.3 ohm Aliens. I do get a little bit of metallic taste for a little while until they kind of break in. But they're 0.17 triple core fuse Claptons, the 0.22 Aliens, and the I think it's 2.6 quad core fuse Claptons. I've never gotten any type of metallic taste, but I do know what you're talking about there, and I have got them from some of the Wotofo coils, and I even get them from some of Jonathan over at Coil Clout, some of his. Homeboy does make some bangers. That one that's over on Coilter on Beecher's site, the raspberry lemonade cookie, pretty sure it's an Homeboy actual recipe and done up by him. That is a banging recipe. I really like Homeboy's mango as well. Of Advanced Vape Supply. I'm not even familiar with that, I don't think. Another coil builder you gotta check out is a Proper Coils from Ireland. I'll have to look them up. Are they on like Instagram? Is that kind of how they do their thing? Instagram, Facebook? Ah. ABS went under. Not sure he ships to the US. That's a lot. Like those was it Ohms coils that I got from the UK. I had hit him up on Instagram and he was like, I don't ship to the US. It's too much fucking headache, too much bullshit. But somebody I know in the UK actually mailed them out to me. Proper coils is what Vic's always using. ABS went to weed only. Seems to be a lot of companies out there. If the vape thing just kind of collapses on them, they just transition over to cannabis. Last order was January 2021 during the going out of business sale. That always sucks. That was kind of like Armageddon Immortal mods. I ordered a ton of shit from them as they were going out of business. I mean, I already had a bunch of stuff. I had a ton of, well, not a ton, but I had several Apocalypse 25s, a few other ones from them, and several mechanical mods. But as soon as all that went on sale, I ordered some stuff I probably really didn't need, but it's kind of like, let's help them out and kind of show them that, you know, we really appreciate everything that they did. So I ordered several other things. I gave out a lot of them as gifts to people. I must have ordered, I think I ordered 10 or 12 of the Apocalypse gear and gave a bunch of them out to people I know. I think I kept 2 or 3 of them and then gave the rest of them out. I forgot how much I dig this Twisted Tart slushie. This recipe is up on all the flavors if you want to check it out. But it does have Lorian's Tart and Sour, so if you're somebody that does not like sour additives of any kind, then yeah. Where's the raspberry lemon cookie recipe? I don't know. It's a commercial liquid, well, commercial off of Coil Turd site. It's an excellent e-liquid, but I doubt Homeboy's all about releasing recipes. Oh yeah, it's kind of the same thing. I just ordered up a ton of shit. Help them clear out everything. I am about to die of dehydration. And no, this is not a beer. This is basically the state soda of Kentucky. There's this right here. Been around since 1926. Actually born and somewhat raised in the town that this is made in, Winchester, Kentucky. Swaggy, you know about L8? If you know about L8, you need to make an L8 concentrate for me. I've been trying to nail an L8 recipe for a while now, and there's not a good enough kind of citrus soda to mix with ginger ale to really nail it. Never seen it before? Well, yeah, it doesn't really sell outside of kind of southern Indiana, southern Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, and then you'll see it every once in a while a little bit farther south. Ken's from the hollers. Your wife went to Kentucky Christian College? Hell yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's hell yeah or not for you, but yeah. Both my parents grew up in eastern Kentucky and kind of coal miners country. And then as soon as they got old enough, they got the hell out of there. But I still have a lot of family that actually live in the mountains. But a bunch of them, just because the mountains it was rough to expand much as far as small towns in the mountains. There was a couple that kind of did all right. Pikeville did all right. You're also at Fort Campbell until you're in first grade. Well, heck, you know all about the Bluegrass State then. $12-pack of L8 cans on Amazon for $19. Damn. I normally, anytime I get them, I always get them in the bottles. I'm one of those weird people. I guess it's because I'm old that I think every single Yeah, Loretta Lynn was from Kentucky. She was from Eastern Kentucky. But I always think bottles taste better. Like sodas in bottles taste better. So anytime I get L8, it has to be in a glass bottle. We were actually, my wife and I were just talking about this today, that every once in a while I'll go down like the Latin food aisle and they have like those Mexican Coca-Colas that have sugar instead of corn syrup or high fructose corn syrup in them. And I'll buy 4 or 5 of those, even though they are ridiculously overpriced. But it feels like I'm a kid again drinking a bottle of Coca-Cola from 1983. Swaggy, that sounds like my sister. My sister now, she lives in, well, outside of Destin, Florida. So anytime she comes up, the first thing she does is like half of their trunk ends up getting filled with 6 packs of L8 bottles because she can't get it where she's at. You like the Mexican orange soda? See, I'm not big on orange, like cream soda or any type of cream soda, but there's something, I think it's just the fact that most companies that make or have bottling houses in Mexico use sugar as opposed to high fructose corn syrup because the price is similar in that country, whereas in the US high fructose corn syrup is ridiculously cheaper than sugar. But sodas that are made with actual sugar are a lot more crisp. They don't have that syrupy texture to them. Yeah, they did a bunch of those throwbacks. I think there was like, I think they still have the Pepsi made with sugar, and they've got the throwback Mountain Dew, a couple of other ones. I think if I remember right, Coke did it there for a while. I actually switched to, if I'm going to drink like Coke or Pepsi, something along those lines, I switched to Coke Zero, basically because they did blood work on me and they were like, hey, your triglycerides are like, we can't even measure them, they're off the chart. Now everyone in my family, their triglycerides do this number, but that was way too high. So I was like, all right, I gotta cut some sugar out. And that was at least one area I knew I could do it in. Yeah, the Mexican Cokes are definitely made with sugar because it's slightly cheaper to make it with sugar down in Mexico than it is high fructose corn syrup. A lot of things used to be better. I would agree with that, to at least to an extent. I think part of it is we've become a disposable society. Addy Tooney, what's up, brother? But yeah, we've just kind of become a disposable society. So in that case, everything is kind of just built shoddily compared to, shit back in the day. Companies and all that, they actually built shit to last. And also, the more complex things get, the harder it is to make something more complex, but also long lasting. I think that's a big problem with the big difference in cars, especially. Back in the day, cars were a lot more simple, so it was easier for you to kind of, replace parts in them, keep them running for long periods of time. Nowadays, it's just overly complex the way all the systems are in them. 1946 Delta bandsaw runs smooth. I guarantee it if it was built then. And it's still running. Apathy, I like that. Planned obsolescence. I know, just got a new washer that he bought a year ago, just threw it out and bought a new one. I was like, what the actual fuck? Yeah. I've known a few people like that. There's a couple of people in my family that are like that, that just won't even look into fixing something. And I don't know. Like I said, it's just become a disposable society. Oh, it doesn't work, and now I'm gonna have to do something with it. No, fuck that. I'll just throw it away and buy another one. It's like I've got a, and this isn't even all that long ago, but I still have a 97 Honda Civic that's got over 400,000 miles on it that just won't die. It's like the Frankenstein of cars. And at this point, I'm kind of just like, I can't sell it or get rid of it because now it's just a vendetta, because I want to see if either A, how long it takes for the thing to finally keel over, or B, if it actually fucking outlives me. Apathy, that's very, very true. They don't want you to work on your own shit. That whole certified mechanic thing, they want you to take it somewhere because they made a deal and there's been deal upon deal upon deal made. Bought an 88 Honda Civic brand new and drove it for over 1 million miles. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it one bit. That Honda Civic that I have, that's the longest lasting car I've ever had. All right, I have to go. Apathy, good night. Go get some sleep. "30-year mechanic here, you probably lose that battle with the little Civic." I probably will. It will outlive me. It hasn't died already, because there for a while, it didn't, there for a while, it didn't get taken care of the way that it should. And it just kept going. It was like, didn't care. It just kept going. Then I ended up like, okay, let's actually put some money into this thing and get it kind of fixed up. And then after that, there was no killing it. Hell Vape Dead Rabbit, the rabbit that never freaking dies. Yeah. That is kind of true. I think that Hell Vape is beating that name into the ground, but honestly, sometimes I can't blame them. If it's just a name that sells, then whatever. But it's kind of like, I don't mind like using the rabbit portion of it, but if it's a dead rabbit, it needs to have those kind of bunny ear posts. That's what makes a dead rabbit. I didn't mind when they did like the fat rabbit that didn't have anything to do with any of that as far as the posts go, and they just changed the name. They left rabbit in there to as a selling lure. I was fine with that. I didn't care about that. But then some of them have been like, why in the hell that has nothing to do with dead rabbit. Kind of like the dead rabbit M, the mesh one. Like, what makes that a dead rabbit? Nothing. Just rename it something else. First car was a 76 Caprice Classic. Probably put 3 alternators in it before I hit 50K miles. That Civic had the OEM alternator in it until 300,000 miles. I had the OEM alternator in my 97 Civic until I think I hit about 250,000. I think the only thing I really ever had to do with the Civic until it hit about 300,000 miles was just change the fluids. Just make sure I was winterizing it, make sure I was changing my oil. long as I did those things, that thing was just going to keep on trucking. Well, and I changed the timing belt. I had to do that, but my first, like thinking about first cars, my first car was a 1990. I think it was a 1990 Buick Regal. It was like one of the first cars that like everything in the son of a bitch was digital. Or at least one of the first cars I remember that had that going on. And it was my dad's car, and he had passed away, and mom gave me that one like right when I hit, you know, kind of time to get my own car. And the engine ended up, it blew a head gasket, and I guess I don't even remember, it's been so long ago, I don't remember what caused the damage or what the damage was after that, but the engine was pretty much wrecked. But I wanted to keep the car, so we actually got a whole new engine put in it. But the place that we got it done, they didn't fucking put oil in the engine, or not enough. In that I didn't get out of the parking lot before kind of viscosity breakdown locked everything up and completely ruined that engine. That was the first thing that I did when I got out of the car, because at the time I didn't know shit about cars, and that was the only thing I knew to do was me look at the oil and see what's going on. And it had not a drop of oil in it. I don't know how it even turned over, honestly. Needless to say, we never went back to that mechanic. Billy has been removed from the rabbits for a while now. They keep riding that shit into the ground. Yeah, I don't think Heathen gives too much of a shit. You know, I mean, I wouldn't. And I think kind of what happened with Heathen soured Hell Vape to collaborations. Like, they knew they needed to do some of them, but Hell Vape definitely has that reputation of be careful if you're going to do a collaboration with them, because they like to fuck over whoever they're collaborating with. So yeah, but I think that was because, you know, Heathen got a deal on the original Dead Rabbit that like nobody gets. Whatever kind of money he was making per RDA was ridiculous in comparison to what most collaboration deals are. I mean, he made millions off that initial Dead Rabbit. Yeah, I'm gonna probably end up falling asleep with the phone hitting my face. Hell Vape sucks. I could tell you shit that would make you never want to buy that greedy bitch again. What's up, Robert? Thing with Hell Vape, like I would never, because I actually have a couple of different RDAs that are done up in CAD that are ideas that I have. One is a mesh RDA, and then the other one is a dual coil RDA that I haven't shopped around to anybody, basically because, you know, I figure they'll probably be like, who the fuck is this guy? Nobody knows who he is. What the fuck are you trying to shop an RDA around for? But if eventually down the road I could, you know, I was already kind of having some ideas on what I wanted to do. But one thing I'll say as far as like Hell Vape goes and collaborations that they do, that would be a company I would never shop anything around to. They've just fucked too many people over. I do like some of their stuff. I like that Dead Rabbit 3 a lot. I like the Dead Rabbit Max. The Siri was an absolute piece of shit. Oh, hey, what's up, Bobby? That recipe was absolutely amazing. Thank you for subbing to the channel, by the way. Actually designed Hellvape's first release and didn't even know it. But yeah, I know who all they fucked up. I know they fucked over Grimm. Fucked over, well, I don't know what the situation with Vic was. I hear multiple sides to that with the fat rabbit. Some say he mentioned it when he wasn't supposed to, so they pulled out. But even if that's the case, it seems like they were just looking for a way to pull out, and that was the excuse they used. Their Iron Maiden RDTA. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Did not know that about Hellvape. China fucks over collabs. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of part of their whole thing. Like, you can't even sell a product in China without completely showing them all the intellectual property. You have to show them everything. If you want to sell an iPhone in China, you have to basically give them the blueprints and the code to it to be able to sell it. And in that case, they just turn around and make clones. That's why China makes clones of absolutely fucking everything. Would wrapping in straight NI80 round wire give decent flavor? Have to get a China lawyer to get a China patent? Yeah, I guarantee it. Round wire, I don't know, some round wire builds were pretty flavorful. But, you know, I still think a fused Clapton would give you more flavor than just about any round wire build, but that's also very subjective. Some people really like round wire builds, regardless of even the metal that was used, but too much to go into here. Yeah, sounds like it. But it doesn't sound like Hellvape. If that all, you know, is how that went down, then it doesn't sound like Hellvape's changed much since then or has any plans to at all. So, yeah. Doesn't sound like that. There was also something, this alter ego creations reminded me of this, talking about people fucking people over. Who's the guy that does Dead Man's Hand elixirs? Who's that dude? Do you guys know his name? I used to know it and I cannot think of it for the life of me. But if you know who I'm talking about, at least, he and another guy, where does One by Ohms Coils from? If you're in the UK, you can hit him up on Instagram. That's the only way I know of. But the guy that did, or that does, Dead Man's Hand elixirs, it was him and another guy, and they had a design for an RDA, and they reached out to Alter Ego Creations. Well, they shopped it around to a bunch of different Filipino machine shops, and I guess the guy from Alter Ego Creations kind of gave him the best deal, but I think he kind of fucked him over, because it seems like he sent them basically, you know, kind of the alpha version of it, and they were pretty happy with it, then sent it back, and they kind of went back and forth with versions and tweaking basically the usual process. and they were happy with the final product, but then the actual stuff that he sent was just not of the highest quality, so they were extremely fucking pissed off. I can't remember the name of the RDA or the gentleman behind Dead Man's Hand Elixirs, but I've read plenty of comments of his on everything from Reddit to other forum posts where he just absolutely loses his mind on the guy from Alter Ego Creations. But I don't know the full story to that. I just thought that was interesting, talking about companies fucking people over, I guess. Occasionally I dig round wire builds, but really only in really old RDAs I haven't drilled out yet. The last time I did a round wire build was in the Velocity RDA. So it's been a minute. I haven't pulled the Velocity out in a while. That twisted tart slushy it's almost too kind of sweet. This right here, I'm still like, I think I'm gonna do like a best of 2022 video going over kind of my favorite RDAs, RTAs. I think there's enough RDTAs and mech mods over 2022, just kind of do a best of list. I can guarantee you right now this TMF RDA V2 from Dani Vape and the Mind Flare is definitely going to be on that list. Mr. Sleepster, what's up, brother? Just got in from work. Addy, good night. Take it easy, brother. Thanks for popping in. Last one you did was the Geek Vape Tsunami. I'm kind of like you. If I'm going to do a round wire build, it's probably going to be in an older RDA. Don't really have anything else to build. I thought I might figure something out and build something else, but at the moment, really nothing. It would just kind of be to do another build, and it would probably be a waste of coil. So I do have this right here that I got. I actually ordered the Profile X way early. Pre-ordered it as soon as I found out about it, and I kind of found out about it through, well, really kind of through Joel. Basically, I believe it was on his Patreon, maybe, talking about how he wasn't involved with it, and I didn't know what the hell that meant. But I pre-ordered it super early, but they sent me the wrong damn thing. Once the Profile X actually got official release, what they sent me was the Troll X. I was super fucking pissed. I had to kind of reorder it. They did give me my money back, luckily, but I had to reorder it, and I did it through a different company because fuck that. But I already had a Troll X, and I don't really like this RTA very much. So I might have to try and figure out some type of giveaway. I also have a Dead Rabbit Max that is still in the package, never opened, along with, I think I have a CIO RDA that's still in the package, never opened. Might have to figure out some type of giveaway or contest, but I'll probably do that on Instagram because I'm sure on YouTube I'd get in crazy trouble for doing something like that. The Noisy Cricket is one that I never owned one, but I have tried them before. Devs, Brody, yes, I was talking about this earlier. I've got 2 designs. They're both all done up in CAD. One is a mesh RDA, and then the other one is a dual coil RDA. But I haven't tried to shop them around or anything like that yet. Really, I think if I was going to shop it around to a Chinese company, I would probably reach out to Dam Vape before anyone else. Yeah, I guarantee they'll tar and feather me if I did a giveaway on YouTube. I wouldn't do anything like that on YouTube. Just like the idea of it. Because I'm never going to use that thing. I think one Dead Rabbit Max is enough. And then, like I said, the other CIO I got because they were so cheap when I first got it. Because I got it way before really anybody was carrying it, long before Vaping Delights picked it up or anything like that. But I think it was like 17 bucks, so I ended up ordering 2 of them. ESO, yes, Wolfgang. That's the dude. Him and another guy is who Alter Ego Creations royally fucked over when they sent them a bunch of stuff. Now this Clio RDA is actually decent. It's not super great by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not horrible by any stretch of the imagination. But this damn thing over here, it looks pretty. It looks absolutely gorgeous, which is why I got it. But this is the biggest waste of money I've ever spent. I mean, it's just a bomb. That's all this is. It is a 21700 bomb. And it's built poorly. The switch on it is designed poorly, put together poorly. Some of the machining for what's going on that tube itself and the Delrin is very good, but the whole kind of way they go about doing that switch is rather poorly designed. I honestly think if I had a decent 3D printer at the moment, I could probably solve every issue that Mechanical Mod has. Fuse Claptons or Aliens, and why? I go Aliens because I think they have better flavor than Fuse Claptons. That really comes down to surface area more than anything. But that's just me. I mean, my favorite are Fralians, frame staple aliens. Or framed aliens, that's what it is. Not frame staple. But I do really like Fuse Claptons as well. And actually, I think that most people starting out on coil building should probably start with a Fuse Clapton as opposed to just a straight Clapton, because you don't have to crimp the ends off or anything like that, and you get a better, more flavorful coil out of it. So it kind of, they're easy to do, you know, for the most part, they're pretty easy to do. They're easy to get right. And then you have a very flavorful, nice set of coils when you're done that kind of pumps your confidence up, gets you pumped up to try more coils, because as you go along, it is going to get way more frustrating. I mean, it's kind of why I don't build coils anywhere near as much as I used to. Now I've started to again, because I'm trying to get everything going for doing actual coil building videos on the channel. But yeah, there for a while, every once in a while I would sit down and make some aliens, and that was about it. You have a friend with a hydraulic press for that bomb mech? I wish, actually, I probably do. A friend of mine works in a local machine shop. I know they have a hydraulic press. That's basically where that thing needs to go. Basically what happens is, stick a battery in it. The fire button is on the bottom of the switch, on the very bottom. And if you, I don't know, when you hit the fire switch, the button itself is just a copper screw screwed into the button. And then that hits a copper plate and the battery sits on top of that copper plate. So when you hit the fire switch, the button itself gets red hot, but there's some type of resistance buildup in that switch, and the whole switch gets red hot extremely quick. And then because of that, a lot of times you'll hit that switch and the button will just stick to that copper plate that's on the inside, and it'll just continuously auto fire. You have no choice. You could hit the button as many times as you want. It's not going to come loose off of there. So you end up having to either quickly take the RDA off the top or quickly undo that switch. And most of the time you're going to go RDA because the switch is just red hot. It's the most dangerous mechanical mod I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen some of the early ones that were just, oh shit. That is the U7 mechanical mod from Alter Ego Creations, Robert. Don't buy it. There's a couple of places that still have it. I noticed like Vaping Delights, they had it like 220, and then it went down to like 170, and then down to 120. I think it might be like right at 100 now because too many people have had problems with them. McMod guy, what's up, brother? Had a DNA 60 Kanger Tech mod that never failed to stick the fire button. Yeah, it's that terribly put together, and I paid 200 for this thing. This is basically, I bought a $200 fucking paperweight is what I did. Now I could have got my money back because the place that I bought it from, I actually sent it to them and they sent me video back of them using it. And they were like, well, the switch gets hot, but you know, it's a stainless steel mechanical mod. And I'm just like, you know how many stainless steel mechanical mods that I own, and none of them, not a single one, the switch ever gets that hot. And you know, they cleaned it out. They sent me a video of them using it. But I did notice the button stuck on him at one point. He got lucky though and was able to hit the button again and it stopped. But yeah, he asked what I wanted to do, which was basically code for, you want your money back on this thing, and I'm sure I would have just gotten store credit, which would have been fine, or you want us to go ahead and send it back to you. And at the time I was like, just go ahead and send it back to me. Maybe I'll figure it out. Maybe there's just something going wrong in there that I can figure out. But no, there was nothing to figure out except it's a piece of shit that is extremely dangerous. I will say, Robert, you just said about high-end shit. I will say I've had more trouble out of high-end devices than I've ever had out of kind of middle of the road. Now, I'm not talking like super cheap, because I've had a ton of issues at anything super cheap I've ever bought. But I end up having more problems out of high-end stuff than I do anything else. But sometimes I think it's kind of somebody making something and claiming it's high-end just by the price they set on it, but then its overall quality is not high-end. Brody, have a good night. Thanks for coming out. Yeah, now there's some, like the Atlas that I have from Silvercraft Creations. I've got a few stuff from, was it MRN, that I really like. What else? Some Purge. Like I said, I'm not like a super fan of Purge for whatever reason, but they always work. And I've never really had any single issue out of them. It's more aesthetic and feel as to why I'm not like huge on Purge mods. All those have been absolutely outstanding. And like Silvercraft Creations over in the Philippines, I would probably buy just about anything that he makes if I can afford it, because that Kraken was like $500. That was a bit much for me at the time. And now I think I've kind of missed my chance. But I did go ahead and order up the Chaos that he is about to release here, I think next week. I pre-ordered the orange one, so I'm super pumped for that. Yeah, the old purge switches are definitely a nightmare. I never understood people were like, loved them. A lot of people loved those switches, and I don't know why. Ugly, where you getting all these deals from, brother? I don't have a whole lot of regulated mods, to be honest. I've always kind of been a mech mod guy. Is that the TS you're working with now? Yeah. I've got that TMF RDA V2 on top of it. Got this one. I've got another TS that's green, and I've got a red one. Don't have any of the DS because it just seemed pointless. It was like, why would I get a dual parallel that small that uses 18650s when I could get a triple? Tart is back to 2016 and look around. Yeah, they've definitely redesigned the switch. I like the detonator switch. And I like their magnetic switch, but Paul, you talking about these? You gonna get one of these? These are very good. I would definitely suggest if you do get one of these, order up some of the spare parts with it. You don't necessarily have to get, because I think there's a silver plated kit that basically you get all the contacts and stuff like that, and it's all silver plated, but just spare parts to it, because I don't know, you're probably definitely going to need them. I've replaced some parts in this, not that I necessarily needed to do it, but it just makes it easier because it's kind of a sandwich mod. Like everything that's up here, or it's an onion mod, is a bunch of layers. So once you take this off, there's a ton of layers of things underneath there. So sometimes to really get parts of it clean, I just swap it out with one of the other ones that I bought and then clean that one, set it off to the side, just because it's easier to get everything back together doing it that way. Steve-O, the silver ones are hard to find. I wouldn't doubt it. I haven't actually seen any. I know they did not have in the whole silver kit on Coil Cloud's site. And then I would definitely suggest getting the silicone bottles. Now there's a specific silicone bottle top cap piece that Greg designed for these, and I've talked to him through email, and he said that he is eventually going to reissue it, right? But he doesn't know when or where or anything like that. But the Squonk straw that comes with the standard bottles for this, they're kind of the pet bottles or whatever, works with the silicone bottles. So I would definitely order up some silicone bottles for it as well. They will work with the Squonk straw you get with it. I have a green clone TS, stopped using it because it stopped firing. You take it all apart and see if it was something going on internally. All right. Sorteal, do you believe in the J. Hayes method of thinking whereby dual coils don't give you better flavor than single coil decks? I mean, I would. It's a different type of flavor. Now, if I'm going to test e-liquids, I'm going to use a single coil RDA damn near every time. Oh, what's up, Dorothy? Oh, Arc, damn. But yeah, if I'm going to test e-liquids, most of the time I'm going to use a single coil RDA, something like the Wasp Nano, because single coil RDAs generally lay out all the flavors, everything that's going on in an e-liquid recipe better than dual coil. Dual coils kind of punch you in the face with flavor. So whatever is supposed to be kind of the primary top note really hits you a little bit harder than everything else going on. So I would say single coils generally have better flavor as far as really tasting everything that's going on in a liquid. But I generally like dual coils better because I kind of like that hard hittingness of it. I like the more vapor production that dual coils have. And I do really like kind of that loud in your face flavor that dual coils produce. But if I need to taste everything that's going on, I'm going to go single coil. Dorothy, how you been, brother? Beat the Shit RX 200 is still in rotation in a Rolo dedicated to a single peppermint latte flavor. Oh, nice. Traded 2 gallons of VG for the commercial recipe from a maker. There was a guy that came into the vape shop all the time, and he had a particular e-liquid that he kept wanting us to try and clone. I was not the person that was cloning e-liquids. I'm just not very good at it. I always want to do something different with it, or I think the liquid tastes different than the actual person does. So I'm never very good at it. But I ended up suggesting it. I was like, why don't you just email the company? They're going out of business, right? They're not making this liquid anymore. Email them and see if you can either buy the recipe, or a lot of times they'll just fucking give it to you. And he must have came in a week later and said they finally gave him the recipe, and he handed it to us to actually mix it up for him. Peppermint latte does sound good. Doing all right on my way home from my normal job at the grocery store. I hear you. All right. I think that is about it for tonight for me, guys. I have to hit the hay as well. What would you say is the best build kit toolkit that's readily available? I don't know. The one that I don't really use a build kit per se. Trying to think who actually has one that is somewhat decent. Geek Vape used to have one that was pretty decent. I don't know if they still do or not. The Vapefly one looked good, but then it seemed like some people kind of tore it apart for missing things it should definitely have. So I'm not sure. Coil Master used to have some decent kits as well, especially like their full-blown like pro kits that actually had the ohm meter and everything else in them. But yeah, not sure. You'd have to just kind of look around. I don't really use kits anymore. I just kind of buy all the parts individually. Seems to work a little bit better, and seems like I get a little bit better quality out of everything. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. I appreciate every one of you coming out. The live mixing actually got moved, so it will be tomorrow at 1 p.m. So come hang out with us. I'm going to try and build kind of a mixed berry gummy recipe, along with doing up my almond strawberry cake recipe that, well, my theory crafted almond strawberry cake. So we'll see how those turn out. Might mix up another recipe, not sure. But thank you, every single one of y'all, for coming out, hanging out. This has been a cool stream, just kind of talking the shit, hanging out. Vape on, and I will catch you guys in the next one.